So innovation was part of, or made part of me by Tata's right from the beginning. Okay, so it is all about thinking and approaching differently to improvise the outcomes. That's what is in a short I will be defining as innovation. Okay, so see, you may be doing certain things on a very regular basis, but how do you kind of do it differently so that the outcomes are going to be improvised? So that's how basically I approach every aspect. And I don't like to run something as a mill that every day then you really get bored. Like how can I make a difference in doing whatever I am doing today is the main thought process, which is very, very important for trying to bring out innovation. So this is the mindset I need to carry.
From your point of view, what trends or technologies do you think will define the next phase of IT leadership?
See, complete landscape is transforming. Okay, if you really look at IT from the standpoint of what we were doing earlier to what we are doing today is completely different because IT is not a separate entity altogether. So IT is kind of an ingrained item of every business. Okay, so that means you need to work very, very closely with every business leader and try to see that like their problems are being understood by you earlier than that means you should really work with them on the strategy part of it. Okay, try to understand very clearly. And boards are also becoming really, really demanding. So where you need to really start putting business case very rightly and try to kind of help them come out with some plans which really align to the strategy, whatever they are bringing on to the table.
Hi everyone, you're watching the mainstream. I am Simran Shivalkar, your host for today, and we are back with a new episode from our exclusive series called Voice of CIO. Today I have with me a true visionary from the tech space, Mr. Bharanidharan. So thank you so much for being a part of this episode and joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Well, he needs no introduction. I will still take this opportunity to share a few things about Mr. Bharanidharan. He is currently the Chief Information Officer at ProConnect's Supply Chain Solutions Limited, where he blends deep expertise in IT program delivery with a strong foundation in SAP and emerging technologies. Over the years, he has led large-scale transitions, driven digital transformation initiatives, and also built high-performing teams across global locations, which also includes the Europe and the US market. His focus on lean IT systems, process improvement, and customer-centric delivery has earned him industry recognition, which also includes as being named the Innovative CIO of 2024 by the mainstream, formerly known as CIO News. In today's episodes, we will try to explore his journey, his leadership style, and his vision for the emerging technologies and trends. Without any further ado, let's begin. Firstly, Mr. Bharanidharan, thank you so much. And like I said, you've had a rich and varied journey, right from IT to leadership, and now, of course, as a CIO. Looking back, what key moments have shaped your path to becoming a CIO? If you could tell us a bit about this journey.
Sure. Firstly, the important aspect is all about how organizations look at people. And I was very fortunate to start my career with Titan Industries. Titan Industries is nothing but a Tata organization. Okay. So generally, Tata organization looks at ensuring that every leader puts his common sense to use to solve real world problems. Okay. And they have put me under good amount of training, and training was the important aspect within Titan. So, and not only me, like I have seen many of my colleagues and even my subordinates used to have a very regular amount of training being conducted. And this was really, really a cornerstone for every improvement which has come inside me, because without which definitely I would have not been what I am today. Okay, then later I moved into HP, where I moved into HP as their own IT services. And within the IT, basically, I was actually driving their support for EMEA region. And then later they wanted to kind of try some business outside. And that's when they asked me whether I can bring some new business within this one. In fact, the first project which I took on that was Bajaj Auto, where I brought in and delivered SAP PLM for them. Okay, this was one of the important milestones which I took part within HP. And this was my first enterprise journey within. And from there, in fact, I have moved into many countries. I have been working in US. I've been working in Europe, especially in Germany, and trying to kind of help a lot of customers of HP completely offshore their activities in India. That means, earlier their IT costs were very, very high because they were only supporting their IT with people within their region. And we had the labor arbitrage, if try to have the support being moved into India. So that was another aspect of it. Then subsequently, I also moved into Reddington. In fact, because they had their SAP implemented and had some kind of expert who needs to kind of take over that and then try to take them onto a digital roadmap. So that's when I moved into Reddington, and it's almost now 5+ years now. Moved the entire onshore the on-prem SAP into cloud. So we have with RISE with SAP in terms of, and subsequently I was also kind of given some opportunities within the subsidiary of Reddington, which is ProConnect, and we're trying to kind of now driving the IT initiative. And from Titan, if you really look at, I'm actually, this was not a plan. I was with manufacturing, I was working on things, but the SAP wave took me into the IT side. Otherwise, I was very diligently working on building machines, building processes, and those kind of stuff. In fact, even I was part of the design manufacturing of some of the special components, within the team, like the Edge watch. So I still remember those days, where we used to seriously work on some of the processes. It was a big challenge. It was not that easy, but those things basically shaped me, getting.
Right. I mean, this is really a transformative journey that, you've worked from, Titan to now becoming a CIO. But again, like I said, you've also been named as the innovative CIO of the year 2024. Personally, for you, what does innovation mean, and what are some of the initiatives that you are personally proud of?
So innovation was part of, or made part of me by Tata's right from the beginning. Okay, so it is all about thinking and approaching differently to improvise the outcomes. That's what is in a short I will be
Right.
defining as innovation. Okay, so see, you may be doing certain things on a very regular basis, but how do you kind of do it differently so that the outcomes are going to be improvised? So that's how basically I approach every aspect. And I don't like to run something as a mill that every day, then you really get bored. How can I make a difference in doing whatever I am doing today is the main thought process, which is very, very important for trying to bring out innovation. So this is the mindset I need to carry. Okay. Next, basically is, some of the items, which basically right from the start, when I started looking at it, I started looking at problems as problems. Okay. Never try to accept them that, this is the way we need to work and move forward. So I still remember one of the incidents, when I was in Titan. See, I was part of the manufacturing shop floor moved into SA. But whenever what happens is in the manufacturing shop floor, the biggest problem is, there are series of machines through which chassis of a watch gets manufactured. Okay. When even a machine gets down, that becomes a problem. And in fact, if we really look at how we calculate the probability of the whole chain of machines which operate continuously in a flow line, we normally multiply it by the availability. That means or the utilization. If you really look at it, if a machine is 0.9 available or utilized, another machine, next machine is 0.9 utilized. It is 0.9 into 0.9, which is 0.81. That means utilization, overall utilization comes down very drastically. Okay, so this is the funda. And so mainly trying to really look at how these things basically try to happen. Then we were able to understand that the machines, when it breaks down, we don't get the information to the maintenance department very fast. So what, at least because I moved into IT, I decided I need to solve this problem. What I did is, because this basically the machines basically have the PLCs which are available, and normally they program it using SCADA. And whenever there is a stoppage of a machine, there is a certain response which the machine provides. And taking that response and sending it to SAP, we were able to kind of develop a notification in SAP. And the moment a notification is developed in SAP, immediately a light will glow in maintenance department. That means the maintenance person knows that there is a ticket for him, and he has to go into accept the ticket. Until then, that light will be glowing. Okay, then he has to go do the activity. Once he finishes the activity, he can once the machine starts running, the ticket gets closed automatically. So this was done very seamlessly. What I am talking about is this was done in somewhere around 2002 or 2003. Okay, and
AI was not even picking up, or automation was not even the center stage.
not even being thought about
Correct,
at point of time.
correct.
Yeah. And again, next to this one, which happened was the vendor portal, where I wanted to know, like, kind of bring in the visibility of the entire vendor ecosystem into our APO system. Okay, so Titan wanted to provide the purchase orders based upon how much availability of machinery the vendor is ready to allocate for us, because the vendor can also produce for other companies. That means the Titan vendor can produce for HMT, they can produce for Alvin, they can even produce for watches which are like being manufactured outside of India. Okay, so they have to kind of, so I provided a kind of a portal, and we also try to look at like the basic idea was to look at how we can really make it just in time.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, that was the idea, and that is another this one. The third one, what basically wanted is talk about the physical inventory verification, but that was completely a different problem, because what had happened is there was a problem, like in the watches. So when the watches get into the sale, what happens is it can take 1 year to get sold after manufacturing. So the battery gets weak, and when watch is sold, the user immediately feels that there is some kind of stoppage which happens. Like it's a bad experience for a customer. So I wanted to kind of sort it out. So what I did is try to do physical inventory verification every quarter using a barcode scanner. And once the scanner is being done, what happens is if the battery life is more than 6 months, automatically from the finished good stock, it will move into quality stock. The moment it comes to quality stock, the person in quality's job is to remove the old battery and fix the new battery. So don't keep any battery beyond 6 months within a finished good inventory. So that way we sorted out the problem, and completely, at least the moment a watch gets into somebody's hand, 6 months to 1 year, it will not have any kind of trouble. So that was one of the things which, this one. Another item was as a tire as a service. In fact, Continental, one of the leading tire manufacturer, approached HP. They wanted to kind of go into as tire as a service. So they wanted to rather than retailing the tire, they wanted to work with the DHL and take the entire fleet. They called it Fleet 360, and they wanted to see that the tires are being always managed by them. So that means what happens is and ensure that the value addition what they try to provide is ensure that the vehicle once started will always reach the destination. It will never get kind of any issues in between. So that means what happens is we put a lot of probes, check the complete vehicle, including how the bearing is, even the vibration sensors to everything, to ensure whether the vehicle is all ready to kind of travel to such an distance. And we also have put kind of small kind of IoT sensors within the tire, where it continuously sends temperature information, pressure information, and all that back into this one. So to the central. So with big data, we were in a position to analyze that very clearly and give suggestions. Similar way, any tire pressure or anything goes wrong, we were in a position to give an information to the driver, so that the driver goes to the nearest service center and tries to get this corrected and then move forward. So this was a great kind of an experience. And even at that point of time, this was completely custom developed and it was being delivered to them. And it was really, even today, it is working very fine. And in the current, one more item is basically in the current organization, what we have done is, see, very clearly we have 180 warehouses. It is not so easy sitting in one place and managing. And today, see, we move the complete mobile market. We are distributors of iPhone, Android, and all that. And very clearly what is the value of every phone.
Correct.
And you just imagine a complete truck of phone being transported from one end to other. So what is the risk you are running, right? It's very, very high.
Right.
Similar way, trying to kind of hold the complete costly inventory within your kind of an environment is also going to be really a tough
Right.
So what we have done is we have kind of systems where within the warehouses we have cameras which are kind of connected with the AI, and if any intrusion or anything is there are strategies of intrusion being worked out. And even we have to the extent of if there is an order, then only a person will be in a position to go near to that particular location. Otherwise, if there is no pick order, if somebody is going over there, automatically a control center will get an alert, and immediately the right personnel will be contacted, and any kind of incident or anything will be prevented in advance. Okay. Apart from that, there are vehicles which transport, and that vehicles are also having geo sensitive locks, which will only open in the areas where it is supposed to be open. Okay, so that means what happens is if a person is locking it over here, then automatically it can be opened only by somebody else who is supposed to open, and he only will be getting a passcode to his mobile number. So all this, really makes it more in terms of, see, end of the day, it is about finding ways, and there are many people who are much innovative. You need to only know who are available around you and try to have contacts on a very regular basis with them, and try to see that, you are taking advantage of such innovations and trying to weave out complete orchestration of the solution. So that way, and end of the day, it is how you bring customer value onto the table.
Absolutely, sir. And thank you so much for sharing these initiatives with us. Well, I also understand you have led both offshore and on-site teams. From a leader's perspective, how do you build trust and maintain collaboration as well as, keep the team motivated across various time zones, whether you're working in office or remotely?
See, it is more about connectivity. Okay, connectivity in the sense it's about how you try to forcefully
Right.
speak to each one of them. Okay, so it is not only about your official life, it is also about personal life. Okay, because end of the day, what happens is a person always stays with you
Correct.
when his personal life is very comfortable. Okay, so if there is a problem in that, definitely he is going to show it up in the work. Okay, so see, first thing, what as a leader, you need to make them very comfortable within their personal environment. That
Correct.
means you need not get too much personal, but the thing is, at least the basic needs, his personal needs, you should be aware of, right? Certain times, what happens is somebody may have elder people at home, they may not be well. Okay, similar way, they may have some children who are no kind of getting into 10th standard or something like
Right.
that. There will be anxiety for them to really spend their time with children. So all that you should really help them in achieving that. Okay, so it's as a part of a leader, it is important for you to do
Correct.
that for them. Okay, similar way, we need to give them kind of this one saying that also keep an eye on seeing that your targets are being met, because that is going to be very important. Because see, end of the day, we are answerable to a customer, right? That means we are servicing somebody. That means it cannot, your personal things cannot take priority and then hitting somebody's delivery. So you need to be very careful managing that and help the kind of people in achieving this. So that will make a big difference. And apart from that, you need to also have some kind of events where you need to celebrate their even smaller achievements. Okay, so if you are not going to celebrate any of these achievements, what is going to happen is people are going to not feel accomplished, right? So you need to tell them saying that generally, at least right from the beginning, I have been running newsletters very regularly and making them to publish whatever they do. That means from a requirement till publishing achievement is their responsibility. Okay, they need to ensure that it is also being published. They also need to call out. And when it is published, we also circulate it to all senior leaders. We explain them, and not only senior leaders, to all the stakeholder community. So that way, everybody knows what everyone is doing.
Correct.
Okay. Apart from that, also during our calls within this one, any good things we call it out, any improvement points also we call it out. Things are going to be very frank, and I also encourage people to come out openly in case they feel somewhere constrained. So they need something, some training is required or all that. And apart from that, see, if you really look at various teams, like if you look at abroad teams and other things, they are completely a different animal. But end of the day, if you are able to connect with them, so some connecting strategies. One is you need to know their language a bit. You need not know their full language, but if a Thai is there, at least you should be in a position to ask Bagunara. Okay.
Right.
If a German guy who's coming in this one, maybe you may get into and speak to him saying that Guten Morgen, wie geht's? So something like that, if you are in a position to kind of get into their language, they feel really connected and they feel really comfortable in terms of communicating with us. And be transparent and show that you are adding value to them. Obviously, they will add value to you, and go with the trust. And nobody is going to come and cheat around. Definitely, they are coming to work. Okay, so they wanted to show up better, and you really kind of give them that support continuously and make them feel comfortable. So that's more than enough. I think people will definitely contribute.
Rightly said so. Along these lines, I think you've also led various teams across and you've worked on a lot of digital transformation initiatives. Well, digital transformation today, it has become more than just a buzzword. How is ProConnect trying to embrace technologies like AI, IoT, and analytics as well to drive the real impact when we talk about the business and the digital transformation side of it?
See, digital transformation is all about creating a digital twin or a virtual twin identity, which is mimicking the real world. Okay, so that is what is all about digital, this one. So when you are creating a digital identity, no, of a physical identity, it is very, very important that you need to cover as much important steps as possible. Okay, some trivial steps may be available, which may be ignored initially, may be brought in at a later point of time. But a MVP should have, that is most viable product, should have every highly used process to have a feature correspondingly in a virtual environment. Okay, so this is something which, in fact, I was in a position to bring it within this one. So we implemented Infor WMS and we brought in Shipsy as a TMS, and we were able to know mimic the warehouse as well as the transport environment within the system. So today we can do a good amount of automation within the warehouse. Similar way, we can do a good amount of kind of movement, and we know how we can identify a vehicle for a kind of a need. That means vehicle planning. We can do route planning. That means how we can consolidate different kind of volumes and try to see that like they are being accommodated within a vehicle. All that today we are in a position to kind of try to make that. Okay, but all that happens based upon the importance of adoption. That means every single user should put their heart and soul into the business, and they need to try to see that every physical transaction is being captured. Okay, if they are not going to capture the physical transaction into the virtual world, you are gone. You cannot definitely kind of succeed in any of the activities.
Correct.
So this is a big challenge. In fact, you need to really motivate. And the biggest challenge what we have, unlike other organizations, whatever I have worked at, we have a lot of people who are kind of off-role kind of employees in our system, basically, because we cannot work with on-role employees in a larger format. Okay, when off-role employees come, what happens is their tenure within the organization is very, very minimal. That means your solution should be so simple that you give it to anybody, they should be in a position to work. Right? That's the challenge what we have in terms of the environment. And that is how basically we approach every kind of solution and try to see that like my validation when I am trying to look at the solution is it so simple to kind of adopt? Otherwise, if it is difficult, if somebody has to really work hard or has to develop a skill to kind of work with your IT organization, it's very, very difficult. Okay, that means when you see, I'm getting into a warehouse, I'm a person, I don't have any much of this one. So if I want to do a kind of a picking, okay, the moment I have a pick list available on my kind of hand, if I'm scanning it over here, it should show me where the location is. The moment it shows me the location, the handheld should take me to the location, and I go to the location, I scan the product, I scan the kind of location, and take it in, put it in the bin. So then the transaction is complete. So that means you don't do anything physically in terms of typing or doing any this kind of activities. Okay. So these are some of the things which basically we try. Similar way, when you do an inward, you do scan. You basically scan the item, you try to see that, then system proposes where it should be kind of put away. Then you go take it and put it away in that particular place. So that way, see, it is all system driven put away, system driven pick route. Like system says how you need to kind of take a route to go and kind of pick the items. So these are all important steps, basically trying to take away some of the mathematical items out of the human brain. So if you are in a position to do that and do it through the machine, then it becomes very, very simple. Similar way, like a lot of RPAs we have tried to bring in. So people used to kind of log into systems, in courier systems, because generally what happens is when you just imagine 180 locations, that means we cannot work with one courier person, right? There will be multiple courier personnel. There will be multiple transportation personnel. Okay, so when you are working with courier personnel, what happens is you need to see that the item goes and reaches the end customer, right? And if it is reached, then you have the POD, which is proof of delivery. Right, this proof of delivery will be available in the customer system. That means in the courier system. So then what happens is our system should have this information. Then I need to pass it on to my customer system. Okay, that means what happens is the RPA goes, tries to log in and regularly look into what PODs have been done there, try to scrape those PODs, download them, bring into my system, upload it in my system. And the moment it is uploaded in my system and is connected with the customer system, so immediately the POD gets in and sets over there. That means you don't touch it in between in any way. So it seamlessly takes kind of the entire POD journey happened basically. In a lot of challenges even come in. Certain times what happens is when PODs are being kind of scanned, people try to take image which gets blurred. It becomes this one. So we are trying to find out and solve those problems as well. Try to find out whether a POD being uploaded, is it readable? Does it have all information which is required? So our next level kind of things, which I am trying some kind of AI prototypes, trying to work out and try to solve those problems.
Great, great. And along these lines, you've also implemented lean IT and production systems. If you could share one of the use cases, of how this approach made a clear difference.
Okay. See, lean IT basically is all about delivering IT solutions faster to the customer. See, the earlier days, what used to happen is, I still remember my SAP implementation of 3.1H, okay, where we signed up a contract and it took nearly how much, like 12 months for us to first get the system in front of the user. Okay. So 12 months, that investment, whatever has gone into that, has not returned any value to people. After 12 months only, value returned. Okay. So today things are different. We are working in an agile environment. If I take 12 months, my requirement itself will become stale. Okay. So that means my total requirement changes in 12 months. Okay. So the approach, what you need to do is an agile kind of an approach where you need to co-create solutions with the users. Okay. Earlier it was not that. Earlier SAP gives a off-the-shelf solution, go fit it into the customer. Okay, this is completely different. This is more to do with work closely with the customer, try to understand their requirement. That means an IT guy needs to seriously work on the floor. It cannot be kind of, like you can sit over here and then try to dream about what is going to happen there. It's not going to be reality at all. So stand there, try to go work in their place, try to understand what is the problem they are feeling, and try to see solutioning is being done together because they are also brilliant. Today, everybody is exposed to IT. Okay, that means without IT, now life is not there. In coming years, I am telling you, in 2 years down the line, you will see without AI, no work will happen. Okay, and even today, many people are already taking glimpse of AI into every this one. So this is what it is. So you need to really start looking at and make people understand what is being done over there, co-create those solutions, hand it over to them and work together. So that means in 1 month, you should give something working to them so that they start working with that and keep building over that. Not every application today you have been seeing are built fully. Full-blown applications don't come today. They come with basic requirements, then slowly add-on requirements will change. You can see how many updates are coming in WhatsApp, how many updates are coming in mobile. All that is because of incremental development.
Right,
Right?
right,
That's
right.
the reason.
Thank you so much for throwing some light on that, Mr. Bharanidharan. And lastly, I also would like to know your perspective on the evolving role of CIO. Today, CIOs wear many hats. They are constantly doing a lot of things, when it comes to digital transformation, adopting new technologies. So, from your point of view, what trends or technologies do you think will define the next phase of IT leadership?
See, the complete landscape is transforming. Okay, if you really look at IT from the standpoint of what we were doing earlier to what we are doing today is completely different because
Right.
IT is not a separate entity altogether. So IT is kind of an ingrained item of every business. Okay, so that means you need to work very, very closely with every business leader and try to see that like their problems are being understood by you earlier than what they. That means you should really work with them on the strategy part of it. Okay, try to understand very clearly. And boards are also becoming really, really demanding. So where you need to really start putting business case very rightly and try to kind of help them come out with some plans which really align to the strategy, whatever they are bringing onto the table. Okay, and similar way, there is a vendor community which is also consistently evolving. Because what is happening is a product 5 years before whatever you are using becomes obsolete if they are not really trying to work out on future proofing. Okay, if they are not future proofing, it is going to be very, very difficult. So, and apart from that, today, organizations are getting asset light. That means they don't want capital in any form. Okay,
Right.
they are trying to get into OPEX model. Okay, so that means any expense they want to do it in that particular year so that they don't carry such baggage for subsequent years. Okay, so those are some of the ideas which like we need to understand very clearly. Try to like help organizations achieve their targets with lesser money, and try to also keep the environment very very safe, because the cyber security environment is also changing tremendously. And if you really start looking at with the advent of AI, the cyber criminals are becoming much more innovative. They are coming out with newer problems, and we need to find ways really to kind of battle all that particular aspect. And continuous evaluation you need to be doing. You need to audit your systems. You need to keep a vigilant watch on all systems, whatever you are having. Every endpoint is also very, very important. You need to kind of not hesitate to invest on those kind of things. You need to really educate your board to kind of try to say why I'm spending what I'm spending today. Okay, so it is also a responsibility of this one. In fact, they have a way, like it is always good from their side of view that they need to be conservative. And in fact, even in one of my recent speeches, I was asking somebody saying that, like my CA was not giving me the money. CE was not giving me the money, kind of this one. Then I asked, how many times as a father you have given money to your son? Okay, how many times as a son you have got money, whatever you expected from your father? So that's going to be happening that way. So you need to find ways. Certain times you may have to justify the CEO. Certain times you may have to kind of go with the flow, whatever the CEO directs or the board directs. So you need to find ways. So constantly, it's an evolving kind of a demand which is coming out in the whole this one. Balancing between the board and your own employees and then your own customers and vendors are very, very important. And apart from that, you need to also be aware about the threat landscape. So it requires a lot of connection. In fact, the earlier IT CIOs used to only get knowledge through few areas. Today, you need to be very, very vigilant in the social network itself. You need to have your own networks. In fact, thanks for CIO News or today mainstream, whatever you're calling, you have really connected me with a lot of people in terms of this one. So that is also a great effort in terms of keeping the things moving, understanding the kind of landscape which is uncovering in front of you. So this is what is required from a CIO. They need to be vigilant. They need to be watchful. They cannot always say they know all, because things are changing on a day-to-day basis. What I know yesterday is good for yesterday. What I know, in the future need to be understood today. Otherwise, managing the future is going to be very, very difficult.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you so much for, throwing light on some of the critical aspects, sharing some of the best practices. And like you said, at the mainstream or CIO News, which was formerly known as CIO News, we were able to, make that kind of community or connections with a lot of C-suite leaders, CIOs, CISOs, and build that kind of a platform, which has always been one of the visions. So thank you once again, Mr. Bharanidharan, for agreeing to do this with us, for sharing your thoughts and your ideas, and of course also giving us a glimpse of your wonderful journey. While we wrap up today's episode, I most certainly look forward to connect back with you again.
Sure, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.